if you learned that police are using social networking sites like Facebook to view your photographs, email addresses, lists of friends, cell phone numbers, all that stuff, GPS coordinates. Wow. Excuse me. I think there's a fly in the room. To build a file against you and your acquaintances. You've forgotten everything that happened before the cough, right? I'm going to back up a little bit. What if the cops just all of a sudden went willy-nilly through your Facebook page and they searched for everything about you, where you've been, who you did, what you wear, everything, and then they charge you with a crime? Well, according to a new report in the Detroit News, that appears to be a new trend in law enforcement. We're told since May of '09, investigators have obtained dozens of search warrants nationwide, and those warrants give the cops the ability to dig very deep into your life online. The authorities say they need this ability to track criminals in the 21st century. But privacy groups claim they're going too far and that this is a very slippery slope. With us now, let's take it to the lawyers. Former prosecutor and Fox News legal analyst Arthur Aidala and criminal defense attorney Tom Caniff. So, Artie, digging into Facebook, is that like digging into your drawers with a search warrant or digging into your car with a search warrant?
I would go more with your bank account.
Like your bank account?
Or right. your home telephone account. You know, I received a letter today. My client's home phone, the Verizon company sent me a letter and saying, we want to let you know we've been requested by this law firm to give all of the phone numbers incoming and out from this period of time. If you have a reason to object to this, come into court. And that's been going on since the invention of the phone. Bank record, Shep, happens all the time. This is just the next leap into the 21st century. But you need to have clear and convincing evidence that there's probable cause that a crime was.
Well, I think that's where the rub is, isn't it, Tom?
Shep, this is nothing like bank accounts or telephone records. What this is that the ever-encroaching, ever self-empowering federal government just spraying its tentacles into our lives.
Tom, people who now communicate about Facebook back and forth, isn't that a realm of communication very similar to the telephone?
Yeah, you know what, Arthur, it is. And as I know, you're very well familiar with Title III, okay? And what the government said was when it was first proposed during the RICO statutes and so forth, that the federal law enforcement, FBI, so forth, should be allowed to tap into or wiretap our telephone conversations. The court said that is completely different than subpoenaing someone's phone records that just shows who they called, or their bank statements regarding what's in their bank or what transactions they made. Now you're going into the personal, private telephone conversations of people's lives. And back in the 1970s, that's how we shared personal information. Today, we share personal information via social networking sites.
So what they said is
via Facebook.
It's my turn.
Okay.
One case in point, they went in and got into this one man's Facebook, and they found him wearing a certain shirt that he wore in the commission of a crime. They didn't have specific information that they might see that there. In other words, they had no probable cause along those lines, according to those who were arguing this case. Instead, they just went on a sort of fishing expedition. And almost by definition, you can't do that.
Well, that's perfectly said. The fishing expedition, that's the term we use.
No, it was a commercial whaling expedition. It's beyond a fishing expedition.
Shep, as you know, you could go on Facebook as long as you're a member, and you go to someone's page, and there's usually a profile picture there. And you can't go any deeper unless you're their friend or however their privacy settings are set up. But, Shepard, wouldn't you agree if a guy who robbed the bank is described as being a certain age, height, weight, and wearing a certain articles of clothing, and there's his Facebook picture wearing those exact articles of clothing, don't you think you could go to a judge and say, Your Honor, we have this, we now want to go into his entire account, and that's what happened?
Well, if that is the way it goes down, I guess lawyers would make the argument about whether that's permissible or not.
Here's why it's not permissible. The Fourth Amendment of the United States says that search warrants need to be narrowly tailored. In other words, the government never wanted to condone these sort of fishing expeditions. You have to put in the search warrant affidavit narrowly what it is exactly you're looking to go after. The problem with giving someone blanket authority to go through a Facebook account is now, okay, you know, I'm looking for evidence that he robbed a bank, but, oh, here's his whole entire life in front of me, and I could find out anything I could possibly ever want to know about this guy. That's why when I go back to the issue of wiretaps, they said a search warrant isn't enough to get a wiretap. You have to complete a Title III affidavit which shows that not only exactly what it is you hope to find, but that there's no other ordinary means, law enforcement means, to get this information other than to tap the phone. And that's what they should have with respect to a Facebook wiretap or computer tap, whatever language you want to use.
Exactly. All right, Tom, Arthur, thank you both.